Hey guys, Big Square, roadtoroad.com with your morning horn of Z's, your sip of coffee that I already drank. I got up early watching some soccer on TV today. Let's talk manipulation, repos, cryptos. I've been screaming it since 2007. All markets, all exchanges, including the crypto exchanges, are rigged with computer programs and derivatives. Now, the exchanges and cryptocurrencies, they don't trade in real cryptocurrencies. Only the decentralized exchanges do, and there's only a couple and it's very low volume. They deal in derivatives of cryptocurrencies. They're not on chain, they are completely fraud behind the scenes with their computers. So Kraken, Poloniex, Coinbase, Gemini, you name it, every single one, they trade derivatives. I'm not saying they're not upfront about it. They do tell you. Well, they don't call them derivatives. But you can see when you put your money in, they create a wallet on their side. What they don't tell you is that deposit you made is used by them, just like a bank. And they'll rehypothecate it, meaning they're going to allow people to borrow off it, you name it, and the only blockchain transaction is when it goes into the exchange or when it comes out of the exchange. Everything else is fraud. I call it fraud because it's not real cryptos trading back and forth. They have a pool. They work out of a pool, just like the stock market, the bond market, the gold and silver market. Within that pool, they use computers and derivatives and algorithms and high-frequency trading to rig the price up, down, and sideways. And they probably work, the big guys, meaning the Exchange Stabilization Fund and the New York Fed, work with the exchanges to rig prices when is necessary. And that's what's going on right now. Now, I would like to give this one message to Michelle White Dove. And people who follow me have heard of Michelle White Dove. She won the America's Greatest Psychic television show. Amazing woman, an amazing ability. She predicted some really, quote, good things to happen to cryptos in September. And a lot of people were saying that. And she said, well, I missed that one. You didn't miss it, Michelle. You didn't come close to miss it. The biggest thing in cryptocurrencies is the destruction of the old system. That's why cryptocurrencies were invented, and that's why they have any value today, is because the old system is dying and the new system is taking place. What happened in September with the old system is the destruction of the derivative market. That's what the repo is all about. That's why the Fed has to bail out the banks. Great article here on Zero Hedge. Which banks are behind the repocalypse funding squeeze? So they're narrowing down. You can narrow down this stuff by the official reports out of the Fed. It has been narrowed down to, a lot of people saying, oh, it must be Deutsche Bank. No, it is a U.S. bank or U.S. banks in large, and they have to be a huge derivative player. So I am assuming it's J.P. Morgan or Citibank. I believe it's J.P. Morgan. That is the cause and impetus. And the reason why, and this is a big thing, is because in the repo market, you have to pledge collateral to get overnight money. The problem is in the collateral, not the money. It's not that they needed cash, which they did. But the reason that other banks stopped lending to each other is because someone big needed cash and nobody trusted the collateral because U.S. Treasury bonds have been rehypothecated with derivatives. So you look at interest rate swaps and things like that. It is all derivatives. The problem is there's 2 or 3 is what they're saying, which means there's 10 or 20 pledges of that same collateral, the same U.S. bond, against different repo accounts and things like that. Again, a repo meaning a bank borrowing from another bank, not the Fed repos. So the repo market is gigantic. It's an overnight market. The Fed is just bailing out the repo market. But the problem is in the collateral. And everybody knows now, or they're starting to figure out that the repos, the U.S. Treasuries held as collateral, are held exact same collateral is held by 3 or 4 different banks holding the exact same thing, giving the repo money, and it compiles upon itself. That's why there's the quadrillions in derivatives. Is the only way to fix it is to add more and more and more, and now it has completely lost any semblance of a true collateral pledge. Because if one person says, okay, you got a default on a bank, it's okay, we got collateral, you really don't. Because 3 or 4 other people have that exact same collateral, and you'll be fighting for who actually owns the collateral. So that's kind of what's going on behind the scenes. They kicked off in September, I believe on September 11th, and then you saw the 10% interest rate bump on overnight money coming on the Monday after this week of September 11th. So there's 2 or 3 days for the banks to go, what the hell are we doing? What the hell are we doing? It freezes up, and all of a sudden someone big needed money, no matter what the cost. Boom, JP Morgan says, I need billions of dollars in overnight money. That's why the spike. That's why the Fed bailouts, the revolving, then they aren't going to stop. That's what you got to keep in mind. They might have a day, like Friday, they went down a little. They aren't going to stop. Watch next week, and it's cumulative. The 14-day ones are cumulative. The Fed said, okay, we're doing it up to a certain date, and that's it. And then there's the overnight ones. They changed the overnight from $75 billion to $75 billion or above, meaning unlimited. But they are going to have to report what they're doing. And they're going to have to explain why. Because all the explanation dates are going away. It was a tax issue. Everybody needed cash for their corporate taxes on September 15th. And then it was something else. And now it's the end of the year issue, the fiscal year of the U.S. issue. And then there's going to be something else. They're lying and lying and lying. This is the end game, my friends. We are right in the middle of it. The derivative bomb went off on September 11th. In my opinion, Michelle White Dove nailed it. Why? Because when the old system is totally destroyed, it's a good thing for cryptos. Because cryptos are there waiting to take the place of the old system. Yes, the crypto market, the prices could go down to zero. Because the prices aren't freely traded. There's no free trades in cryptocurrencies. It's all computers and all derivatives trading back and forth. They're not trade. If you try to take any decent size amount of crypto off the exchanges, they're going to go down for maintenance. I expect massive amounts of maintenance coming up. So get out of the exchanges, get your cryptos in your own possession. I don't care if they go down to zero. It's a click of a mouse to make them go down to zero because they're not trading the real thing. It won't last long, and the cryptos are the future money system. That's what you got to keep in the top of your head. Every crypto I take into my own possession, I'm going to be able to use or spend or have some kind of say in the future, especially with like some of the good tokens that are linked to something that have a good use case. It's all about use case. But the number one use case is as money. That's why Litecoin, Bitcoin Cash, I would say Digibyte have a little bit, but Litecoin and Bitcoin Cash, I think, when the old system falls apart, those are the ones that'll be turned to as a means of exchange to buy a cup of coffee because the old system is dying. And the proof is that it's dying is seen right now at these nightly bailouts by the Fed. The same thing happened in 2008. The exact same thing happened. And it wasn't until October that they had to go in front of Congress for the bailout. The same thing's going to happen now, except it's not going to be $700 billion this time. I have a number in mind. It's $20 trillion. I've been saying it for 2 years. I don't know why. I know it'll be bigger than the $700 billion by magnitudes. So I'm figuring 20 to 30. I was figuring at the time 20 to 30 times as much as needed because it's the bonds that are the problem. So much bigger than the credit default swaps that was the problem last time in mortgage-backed securities. All right. And you want to be really scared now that I scared you about that? Deutsche Bank revives credit swaps trading after 5 years. The most systemically risky bank on planet Earth has decided to dive back into credit default swaps, the same thing that imploded in 2008. Why is this being allowed? It's very simple. They want them to crash. Everybody wants the system to implode. So why not give Deutsche Bank an open check of trading credit default swaps? Voila, you got it. If you want to know more about the crypto problem of the prices not going up, go to roadtoruda.com. Go to the video right there at the top, an introduction to Ruda, discovering the road to Ruda. It walks back how I found this information at the Fed, how I found out that Alan Greenspan was a computer programmer writing programs in the 60s and 70s to rig the market for the head of the Fed at the time, Arthur Burns, and why they put Greenspan as the head of the Fed in 1987. 2 months later, a computer-driven market crash, the crash of 1987. And then the dot-com crash, also computer-driven. The 2008 crash was computer-driven as well, although Greenspan had been out of office for 2 years. He left office in 2006. 2 years. What did Satoshi say? How long had he been working on the Satoshi white paper? 2 years. Who's the most important computer programmer in the history of mankind? Alan Greenspan, been doing it since the 60s, controlled the system. I'm just saying. I think he was part of the group within the U.S. government that invented Bitcoin. You want more proof, you want more information, go to roadtoruta.com. It's all there. Discovering the Road to Ruta. And if you're on the private road and you have questions about Greenspan, right here. We remote viewed Greenspan, which is amazing. I mean, we remote viewed Satoshi, and one of the people involved with creation of the white paper, Dick Allgaier drew him exactly, was Alan Greenspan. Amazing stuff, my friends. And we are in that transition now. So hang on to your hat, get your money out of the bank, get your cryptos out of the exchanges, get them in your own possession, because that's all going to matter. All that's going to matter. And as far as crypto backed by gold and silver, where's the first confiscation going to happen? Large pools of gold. Large pools of silver, and they're not many. So SLV will be confiscated by England, at least the stuff that's in England. The warehouses in the U.S. will be confiscated by the U.S. government. It gets down to, when the banks go down, there's going to be no legal rights to anything. It's possession. Do you own it? If you own your cryptos and your metal in your own possession, you get them. Anything in a pool, anything held by, backed by a crypto backed by gold, they're going to go right to that vault and secure that and nationalize that silver or gold instantly. And you're going to be shit out of luck. Again, if it's not in your own possession, and countries the same. Hey, countries, if it's not in your own possession, you don't own it. So all that SLV silver will be confiscated by the Bank of England. And actually probably by the English government in the UK. And that's probably part of the plan. And especially in centralized locations. So if somebody else stores all your gold or silver, you will lose it. You will lose it because that country needs to feed its people. And you have no argument on that front. Your biggest mistake was thinking that the system would stay together. And now you know the system's not staying together because the derivative bubble is going off as we speak. And the fraud is beyond what you can even imagine at the DTCC. All this stuff is at the Road to Ruta. Go to roadtoruta.com. Watch all the free stuff. The whole top section is the Road to Ruta letters, all free stuff. And then down below, there's the archives. Click on the archives. It goes back over a decade. Check it out. It is all playing out right now. As I developed this thing back in 2007, that's the amazing thing. I used to think like you, like most people. Oh, the Fed's bad. The Fed's gonna destroy us. They are destroying the system, but to get rid of the bad guys. The people behind the scenes. Seed and Company, the Bank of England, the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, the Soroses. It is all happening now. Dick Swear, roadtoruta.com. Talk to you tomorrow.